All right.
Yeah.
So, transitioning from that topic, we wanted to discuss today. So Mike and one of his friends, I think, found
One of my
a yeah. What?
one of my good friends told me about this IG account
Mhm.
that is like amazing for people going through any type of mental health issues or like just trying to navigate the anxiety, depression, all sorts of like emotionally unavailable parents, etc.
Emotional damage.
Yeah, it's a meme, but it's true. Like, this IG account makes it digestible to those that don't even know about too much about psychology. And like during my time through therapy and healing myself, like this IG account actually made it pretty easy
Hmm.
for me to understand a lot of different concepts, I guess you could say.
Okay.
So I fully promote her, and I would wish all of y'all to drop a follow for her because she is amazing. The work that she does is great.
Yeah, go check it out. Go check
So
it out.
it's
So,
called Doodled Wellness,
mhm.
and the topic that we're going to talk about today is gaslighting yourself versus validating yourself. So those of you that are unfamiliar with the term gaslighting, it is such a buzzword these days, right? Gaslighting is when someone tries to manipulate you by making you question your own reality,
Ooh, I love
right?
doing gaslighting.
Sheesh. But I definitely would like to promote everyone to be accountable for their own stuff and don't victim blame others
Yeah,
because
there's
that
enough
just,
going on where you shouldn't like intentionally cause other people to question their own reality. That's pretty messed up. Anyway, so don't do
yeah.
gaslighting.
Yes, please don't. She also shows like certain examples that we got. Like if we go to the next little slide.
So
Were there anything
basically,
else that you wanted to cover, June?
yeah, I think in particular what she so this is by Amy Tran. What she wanted to go through here was to say that gaslighting is possible, but by other people is possible, but also self gaslighting is possible. And I think this is
Oh
like a
yeah.
really important sort of distinction where it's kind of like a lot of the time, sometimes self doubt creeps in. A lot of people are more prone to this than other people are. So that like level of anxiety can like elevate, and like you're almost fighting yourself, right? So in her words, this is basically gaslighting yourself versus validating yourself, right? And I think we wanted to like go through these. Self gaslighting might look like doubting your own internal experiences, denying or minimizing your own feelings, telling yourself that your own reactions are not important or not valid, right? So that's a very possible thing. Like basically all like the hallmarks of like self gaslighting, right? So maybe we wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that a few of these little bubbles that she's posted, and discuss like some of the patterns, because self doubt is healthy, right? Like what she says is
Yeah.
self doubt is sometimes healthy, because like you can sort of reassess and reevaluate like your actions and your thoughts, but it can become problematic when it becomes a consistent pattern of self invalidation. Yeah. So
Invalidation. Or
essentially, yeah, right. So like if you self doubt yourself too many times, or like if it becomes
normal
worse
behavior.
or normal behavior, exactly,
That's
then
really unfortunate if that happens.
yeah, and it can, right? So anyway.
Yeah. Some examples of like where it's a pattern, like consistent behaviors of self invalidation are like downplaying and questioning your own feelings and reactions, blaming yourself when others should be taking responsibility. That's what we mentioned earlier about being accountable, right?
Hmm.
Shaming your internal experience.
Hmm.
I think that's a big one right there.
Right.
Also, denying your own needs, telling yourself you're not worthy, or sorry, you're not worth believing, and you even question your own memories. These are all patterns of self invalidation, and they can lead to a not deadly, but like pretty mentally unstable situation if you let it become a norm.
Right. So what can we do about this? Like, so.
So we want to refrain from emotionally abusing ourselves, right?
Mhm.
Practice pausing for a moment and asking yourself questions such as, am I denying or minimizing my own feelings and needs?
Mhm.
Uh, what do I need at this moment? Can I make space to validate myself right now? What would I say to a friend in a similar situation? What would I want to hear from someone I love and trust in this situation?
Okay.
Those are all pretty good. Like I can even think of like an example in Valorant sometimes, like right after a round, right? You similar to what Naomi might have done, like not been able to do is validate outside of the results of the round or that
Right.
match or that win, whatever it may be, that point, whatever it was, that situation. Think of what you practice. You know you've practiced. You know you've worked this hard. The results will come with your belief in yourself, that confidence in yourself that you've built through all the practice and also the that inner voice in your head
Mm-hmm.
telling you it's okay. Being your own friend in a sense is one of
Right.
the situations that we just mentioned, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
what would a loving friend or a family member, parent, whoever
Mm.
tell you in that situation? What would you want to hear from them? So be
Right.
your own friend at times and be that kind inner voice to yourself.
Right. You don't want to
And
like
then
abuse yourself in that situation,
yeah.
right? Like being like, "Oh, I did something wrong. I'm so stupid," or something like that. Those kind of
Mhm.
like those kind of like self thoughts are pretty harmful, especially if you do them too many times, right? Or like too often,
Right.
or the severity is too high on that. But I do find that really interesting because a lot of the time, I think I don't know, we may talk about this in a different setting or whatever, but like, especially during like interpersonal conflicts, like this one, these are very internal conflict wise, right? But in a
Right.
lot of like
Right.
external conflicts or like, like interpersonal conflict resolution, things like that, one of the things that I like to say the most when I talk to somebody is making sure that I literally say those words is like, I think that your feelings are valid, right? Because a lot of the
Yeah.
time people need to hear that, right? Or I think like
Mhm.
especially when you're delivering a message, it's very important that you say that, right? Like I feel like your feelings or your thoughts are valid, right? There's a lot of people just want everybody just wants to be heard, just want to feel like they're being heard, right? And that their thoughts or whatever aren't being just like swept to the side, their feelings are not being trampled on. Like there's like a certain level of respect that you need to like dictate and essentially show somebody before they're able to be like, okay, I really do believe you that you think this. Now let's talk about exactly how we can change things or like why do you think feel this way, for example, is like another step in the right direction, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes like these things that doodled wellness have mentioned is like shame at your own internal experience or like feeling wrong for something, right? Or like why, but like then a lot of people don't ever resolve that, right? Like in their
Yeah.
internal conflict is essentially, oh, I feel bad about something, but then they don't really go any further and say, why did I feel bad about something?
Right.
Am I supposed to feel bad about something? Am I feeling bad about something because I'm supposed to feel bad about something, right?
Mhm.
Is it because of like there's like expectations or social
They may be
expectations or
missing the introspection, maybe to
yeah,
figure
right,
that what was the trigger to these things, and
right,
then is this actually my feelings at times,
exactly.
or and this was a thing that she also mentioned is self gaslighting can be a learned behavior from being invalidated or manipulated by others.
Right. So it could be outside
Also,
voices that become your own inside voice, right?
right. And also, like, I would hope that people don't go through this situation, but it's more common than you think that, like, if your parents were, like, invalidated or manipulated kind of by, like, your grandparents, essentially,
Generational trauma, Mike.
yeah, generational trauma. So that line would just keep going. And then you may have picked up those behaviors and you have learned that to be the
Break the cycle,
norm.
Mike. Break it.
Yeah. So I would hope that we're helping in trying to help break that generational trauma or yeah, generational trauma. And we can all like make a better life for our friends and family by making a healthier environment.
Right. And so basically, like it's a self wellness, mental wellness overall, right? Like this is like one of the places where you need to begin is essentially like, whether you're validating yourself and validating your actions. Now, not to say that you should be like, oh, like I'm the best in the world or whatever like that, right? But also to like just like be kind to yourself more often than not because we can sort of like let it get out of hand sometimes, depending
Right.
on your personality or who you are. Sometimes we could be our own worst enemy or our own worst critic, right? And sometimes that's important, but that's also sometimes important to let off a little bit sometimes and be like, that's okay. We're okay where we are right now, right?
Yeah. Be able to let go of those negative thoughts sometimes, that self-doubt
Totally.
that might not even be a thing. Like you're overthinking it sometimes, and we're about to go into like an analysis and discussion about that
Okay.
in regards to, since we are an esports psychology channel, we're going to try to break it down with the game that Adu and I play the most, which would be, I play it the most as Valorant. I believe Adu also plays it a lot too, right, Adu?
Yeah, yeah.
All of this, the caveat or like pretext to everything would be you have practiced plenty to gain that confidence in yourself and trust with your abilities, and so that you can trust what you've practiced. And this is also assuming that your teammates or like your coach or whoever aren't trying to change a narrative or like make like victim blame onto you or whoever else. And those same teammates or coaches are also being accountable. If any of these aren't true, then you might want to consider who you are working with to achieve whatever goal, whether that be in traditional sports or esports. Esports,
Okay.
it might be a little bit easier to find different teammates, but usually we can always have a discussion with people first and then find out about
Yeah,
that.
so like
But
essentially like actors of good faith, right? Like people that are
right,
like they have your best interests in mind and you have their best interests in mind genuinely, right?
right,
And
right.
that could be the case where a lot of times it's the case where it may not be necessarily true, but to try and surround yourself with those type of people as much as possible, at least.
Yeah, and even if you do, you never know. You may be able to want to help them also navigate like how to stop those habits or behaviors. It would be a lot of work to be honest, but that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to like let people know that you have another option. So
Mike, are you tilted?
I'm always tilted. Adu, are you tilted?
I am always tilted, constantly tilted.